Welcome everybody. I'm going to talk about why you should not be a programmer, because many of us, we want to be programmers, we want to be coders, but we typically either give up. No, I'm not going to give you the reasons right now. Welcome or welcome back to ClayDesk, your #1 channel for e-learning, full latest technology courses right here on YouTube. Check them out, or if you want a full course and unlimited access, go to claydesk.com and yeah, start learning. But in this video, I want to talk about why you should not be a programmer and what are some of the #1, or I'm going to give you 2 or 3 reasons. I'm not going to give you a whole list of reasons, right? So I'm going to make this short, sweet, so you really understand. If you can, take those 3 things, 3 reasons, and you know exactly that you can do these, boom, then you can become a programmer. Otherwise, you should not be a programmer, guys, right? So let's get on with the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm here to answer your questions, to give you certain guidance that you require if you intend to get into the programming field, whether it's Python, Java, JavaScript, React.js, whatever. We did recently, by the way, publish React.js full course right here on YouTube. So if you want to get into that, all hands on, check it out. All right, so let's dive into the #1 reason why you should not become a programmer. All right, so yeah, I'm going to be learning variables, right? So variables are data values that can change when the user is asked a question. For example, their age. Variables may change during program execution. Jeez, this is crazy. The key difference when comparing a constant to a variable is that the value associated with the variable name may change during. Variable is something that stores data. What's an array? Array in computer programming is a data structure consisting of a collection of elements, values or variables, each identified by at least one array index or key. Geez, what's a key? An array is a sequence collection of elements of the same data type with a single identifier name. Python lists are similar to arrays. I don't know. I've been trying to study this, and this is yeah, it's all textual, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't. The second reason, guys, is bouncing around. Now, I don't mean to say bounce here and there, right, left and right, from one chair to the other chair, but hey, that means that you're either learning Python, you're learning Java, or you're learning React.js, you're learning JavaScript, whatever it is that you dive into, stick to it, guys. Right? Stick to it. I've had colleagues, friends, all these people. Well, if I'm learning Python, why are you learning Python? If I'm learning Java, Java is old. Why are you learning Java now? Go learn Python. So make sure you stick to something that you really ought to know, and then you really like, you enjoy. You do your research first. Check out my videos on which is better, Python, Java, the benefits, the advantages, and really what you're getting into. Once you decide, just stick to it, guys. That's what I mean by bouncing around, right? So do not bounce around. If you do bounce around, then programming is not for you. All right, let's check out the third and final, simple reason why you should not become a programmer. And third, you have fear of the unknown. Well, if you want to be a programmer, whether it's a Java programmer or a Python programmer, then do not be afraid. Once you dive in, I've had many students, guys, who actually start with programming and then they give up on it, right? Because so many unknowns, so many new terminologies, so much to read, so much to look at, so much to do, of course, hands-on, and you get stuck, you get frustrated, your program is not working, even if it's a Hello World program, by the way, it's not working, and then you decide, hey, it's not for me. So it's the fear of the unknown. So make sure you're not afraid of any of this, right? So be fearless and just dive right in and continue making the effort into either Python, Java, whatever it is that you wish to dive into. So that's another solid reason why you should not become a programmer if you cannot stand the fear of unknown. There you go. So nowadays there are numerous programming languages. right? And they're becoming more general and all-purpose. But these languages have specialties, right? So I'm going to be talking about what a programming language is and the types of programming language. So just basically, a programming language is a notation designed to connect instructions to a machine or a computer. That's just the basic level, right? Programming languages are mainly used to control the performance of a machine or to express algorithms. And there are thousands of programming languages. I'm going to be talking about the types. So let's jump right in and take a look at what these different types are. For example, the paradigms has imperative and declarative, different types, procedural, object-oriented, parallel, and then you have under declarative, you have logic, functional, data flow, and database. So just the high level, but important. So let's dive into the first, which is the procedural programming language. So the procedural programming language is typically used to execute a sequence of statements which lead to a result. And typically this type of programming language uses multiple variables, heavy loops, and other elements, which separates them from functional programming languages that I'm going to be talking about later. So functions, for example, in procedural programming language may control variables other than functions value returns. So, for example, printing out information. Next is functional programming language. A functional programming language typically uses stored data, frequently avoiding loops in favor of recursive functions. So the functional programming's primary focus is on the return values of functions, and side effects and difference suggests that storing state are powerfully discouraged. For example, in an exceedingly pure, useful language, if a function is termed, it's expected that the function not modify or perform any operation. It may, however, build algorithmic calls and alter the parameters of these calls. So functional languages are very powerful, and they're usually easier and build it easier to figure out abstract issues or logic. However, they'll even be further from the machine. Their programming model makes it difficult to know precisely, but the code is decoded into machine language, which sometimes is a problematic for system programming. Next, let's take a look at the object-oriented programming language. Fairly easy, to use and fairly popular. So this programming language views the world as a group of objects, so everything is an object, that have internal data and external accessing parts of that data. So the aim or the goal of this programming language is to think about the fault by separating it into a collection of objects that offer services which can be used to solve a specific problem. So one of the main principles of object-oriented programming language is basically encapsulation, that everything an object will need must be inside of the object. And that's what really makes this type powerful. This language also emphasizes reusability through inheritance concept and the capacity to spread current implementations without having to change a great deal of code by using polymorphism. So these are all concepts within the object-oriented programming. And finally, we have the scripting programming language. You may have heard of this, very popular these days, but these programming languages are often procedural and may comprise object-oriented language elements, but they fall into their own category as they're normally not full-fledged programming languages with support for development of large systems. So for example, they may not have compile time, type checking. Usually these type of languages require tiny syntax to get started. All right, welcome back. So now you've explored the top reasons why you should not become a programmer. I know these reasons may sound easy, but actually once you get into that, they're not, right? So I've had many experiences with my students. They've actually tried to become a programmer. For example, we have full courses on Java and Python, right? I'm giving an example here, or React.js. When you get into it, you get to see all these new terminologies like object-oriented programming, arrays, lists, whatnot. You have the fear of unknown, then you should not dive in. So all these reasons are important because once you get into programming, just understand and by the way, here's a bonus tip. Here's the pro tip, and here's the reason. It's not a social job, all right? Programming coding is not social. You have to sit in front of the computer, you have to spend time, and you have to stay focused, and you have to be alone. You can't have your friend help you out. You can't, there's no way you can just talk to your friend and then be coding at the same time, especially when you're starting. Now, once you become an experienced programmer or a coder, yeah, of course, things are easy, right? Once you know it, everything is easy, just like learning anything else, right? Or learning a new language. So these are just languages. So you have to sit, you have to focus, you have to dedicate yourself, you have to be alone. So it's not really a social. So hope this helps. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Syed, and I'll see you guys next time.